right, my friends, we're going to talk strengths today. Strengths, understanding your top strengths and your bottom strengths can be transformational to your relationships, how you run a business, how you interact even with your kids, your partners, your friends, the world around you. It's such a great understanding. It's not like a personality quiz or test where you understand what, if you're an introvert or an extrovert. I think all of those are great, but this looks at your strengths in the world, how you make decisions, and typically these strengths don't change over a lifetime, whereas other kind of tests that you might take throughout your lifetime, maybe in your 20s, you take a test, aptitude test, and it shows your interests or maybe your strengths in writing or listening, or maybe you're creative. These are deeply set in you. Kind of like when I talked about the value that we have, that single value that kind of drives us throughout our life. These strengths, I believe, were geared more towards like business, how you are a coworker with somebody, how you are a leader with, if you run a business or you're an employer and you have employees, so that you can better understand your team working with you. I took the test years ago when I was working with a group of people and I wanted to be a better leader. I wanted to understand why a couple people on my organization just butted heads with me. Like I couldn't figure it out. They're great people, they're nice people, but something was off. I took the Strengths Finder test, which is you buy this book, the test comes with it. It's an online test, takes about 30 minutes, and then it produces your results. You can buy just the top 5, which is incredibly useful. You can buy all 34 strengths, which I encourage you to do. And I'll talk about why the bottom strengths are really important as well. So I took this because I felt like I really liked these people, but I couldn't understand why we were not aligning with how we were trying to get things done. So I took the test to be a better leader, understand myself first, and then be a better leader. I don't use the strengths anymore in a leadership role for a business because I'm self-employed, run my own show, but I need to understand me better. I'm the employee, the boss, the CEO, the CFO, the COO, the payroll, everything. I need to understand me. But outside of my business, when I took this Strengths Finder test and I realized my top strength, how that had impacted my marriage, my relationship with my parents, with my brother, with my friends, with my kids. It was eye-opening. So I highly recommend, if you want to know yourself better and if you want to be better, do the Strengths Finder test. Here's the here it is, Strengths Finder. It's run by Gallup. It comes, you can purchase, you don't have to purchase this, you download an app. And I use the app all the time. If I'm stuck on something, I go through my strengths and I'm like, what strength right now is showing up in my life that I can't seem to get this wrapped around? And oftentimes it's those bottom strengths, the things I'm not as good at, that are getting in the way. But it's not that we want to improve anything. So here's where I really had to like, okay, my strengths are these 5, and I'll go through these and how they show up and how there's blind spots, they call it, where this is such a strong strength in you that you have some blind spot areas in your relationships or in your life. And so it's not that I want to get better at my bottom strengths. I want to understand my bottom strengths so that when I come up against somebody who might have top strengths that are my bottom strengths, I say, oh, I understand. The reason why this person communicates this way is because that is a top strength for him, whereas it's a bottom strength for me. It's not something that ever occurs to me. I don't need to improve that, because what I want to do is I want to fine tune my top 5 or top 10 strengths and really use those to better myself as a businesswoman, as a friend, as a person, as a partner, as a daughter, as a sister, as a mom. I want to be the best I can be in all those arenas. So I love, 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 love it. Took it for initially for business and ended up I feel like using it way more personally because it helped wrap my brain around my relationships. All right, I'm going to start with my bottom 5, like my top 5, but number 5. My number 5th strength, the 5th strongest strength in me is discipline. I'm highly disciplined. I write down what I'm going to do every day, even though it doesn't really change. And at the end of the day, if I have not done those tasks, I will do those tasks before I go to bed. I have incredible discipline when it comes to work or home-related tasks. I have discipline as far as exercise, working out, the standards in which I hold myself regarding saving money, disciplined. I'm incredibly disciplined when it comes to tasks. The blind spot of discipline for me is I tend to be so hard on myself and the standard is so high on myself that I don't give myself any wiggle room. I'm very disciplined. And so I have a hard time letting it go until it's completed. And so where it kind of shows up in my relationships is not everybody has that discipline. So I have to peel it back a little bit, tone it back a little bit, step back a little bit and realize not everybody has discipline as their top strength. And not everybody is going to be a person who says they're going to do something and then follow through. I know it's so weird to me. Like, can't imagine doing that. But not everybody has discipline as a high strength. Not everybody is disciplined in their health and wellness. So all I can do is offer some tools, and it's up to them to take those tools and run with it or not, or get help or not. It's not up to me. So that's number 5. Number 4 is focus. You're going to see that my top 5, they call these domains. We have areas that we have the most strengths in. My top domain and my top 10 is executing, which means I get stuff done. I execute, execute, execute. Number 4 is focus. Laser sharp focus for me. Laser sharp. I set my agenda. I have that discipline and I focus until it's completed. I don't let the monkey mind get in my way. I don't let distractions get in my way. I'm not easily swayed from what is in front of me to doing something else. I'm very focused on my health, focused on my business, focused on saving money for my future, focused on living my greatest life, focused. Discipline and focus. We're seeing a theme here. Okay, number 3, connectedness. I didn't understand connectedness at first, so I had to do a little digging. Blind spot of focus, by the way, is I'm so sharp with what I'm doing that there could be a wildfire brewing over here and I'm like, I'll get to it later because I'm focused. And so I miss things. I miss relational things. I miss emotional things because I'm so disciplined and so focused that somebody over here who is really important to me might be having a major crisis. And I've just like got blinders on because I'm focused. So that's a little bit of my blind spot. Also, if I'm working with somebody in a business and they're very distractible and they kind of jump around from topics, drives me out of my mind. So I have to take a step back. Not everybody has focus. Not everybody's laser sharp. Listen and then redirect. If I'm in a leadership role, listen, redirect, keep people on task, have a visual schedule, all of those things. That's what helps me. So I'm going to try to help other people, even though focus may not be a high strength. Third one is connectedness. I didn't understand it, so I did a lot of reading on it. Connectedness means that we feel, a person with a high connectedness strength feels that we are all connected, that there is an interconnectedness to all things. There is no coincidence. Everything has reason. Everything has meaning. Everything has purpose. And that I belong to something greater than myself that's connected to me and connects me to other people. Okay. The blind spot for connectedness is, I think, I'm maybe, I don't know, maybe a little bit too kind of Pollyanna. Everybody's good. Life is good. This person didn't really mean to do that. because I see myself in other people. I often even say in my yoga class, we're a reflection of each other. I feel like we're the same. We're the same. So I guess a blind spot is I maybe don't take in enough information to make a analytical, which is one of my bottom ones, or a strategic move decision based on somebody. I just love. I just love. All right, number 2, responsibility. So we have focus, discipline, responsibility. Those are 3 very strong executing strengths, which means responsibility kind of is very close to discipline. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I have a responsibility to my job, to the people that I work for, to my agencies, to my students, to my daughter, to my sons. I have a responsibility to my health. I have a responsibility to my home, to my community, to my neighbors, and it all sits here. I'm incredibly responsible. The blind spot of responsibility is it's all here. And then I have focus and discipline that keep me here. And so I get exhausted. I say yes to far too many things that I probably should say, probably not, maybe next week. I say yes to everything and everybody because I'm responsible. And if my task list, the discipline says I'm going to do these things and they're not done by bedtime, the responsibility kicks in and I have this internal dialogue of, you got to get that done. You have to get that done. You said you were going to do it. You have to get it done. And so the blind spot is I say yes to so many things that I don't leave a lot of wiggle room for play or for pleasure or for things. This hip surgery has totally revamped that and rocked my world, that I am actively being responsible for joy, not just for work and saving money and making things and tasks and doing things and serving other people, that I'm serving myself. I've put myself in that responsibility category. My health, healing from this hip surgery is incredibly high on my discipline, focus, and responsibility list. But overall in my life, I have always felt there's a responsibility that my mom was happy. So I didn't do anything that would deviate her happiness. I didn't make her mad, tried not to. So I was a very good rule following girl. I didn't go to parties. I didn't do anything that most teenagers do because that's a responsibility that I didn't want to go away from. And even to this day, like I don't jaywalk. I don't do anything that's against the rules. I don't do anything that's against the rules. So taking just those 3, focus, discipline, responsibility, add in the fact I'm a Capricorn and a redhead, we got big trouble. I'm kidding. It's not great trouble. It has served me all really well. Connectedness, I feel, has served the work that I do in the world so well. And I'll tell you why when I go to my bottom. So my number 1 absolute top strength that I have is belief. If I believe in something, and I have to believe in it if I'm going to participate in it. But if I do believe in it, I believe in it with every cell, every fiber of my being, and I will fight you on it until I have nothing left. I will not walk away from what I believe in. And I didn't know this about me. I didn't know that belief was going to be my top strength. I was actually kind of surprised. I thought positivity was going to be up there. It's really not. I thought I was strategic. It's not. There's a lot of strengths that I thought, oh, yeah, that's good. That fits me. No, it doesn't. Belief is number 1. So I'm going to pull up my top 10 because the next 10 are really good. But belief, let's talk about belief. Where belief showed up the biggest in my world is in my relationships. Because when I was younger, married in my 20s, my way or the highway, I had no room to learn about somebody else's beliefs, to understand where they came from, their childhood, how they were raised, what's important to them, their values, what drives them from the heart center. I had no room for it. So I came across in my marriage, specifically, I was young, but I came across as like, no, this is the way we do it. This is the way we do it. What, even if it was something so silly, like, this is the way we make chili. We don't do it that way. We do it this way. And I was very forceful. I've since simmered down and aged like a good cheese, and I don't have that much in me. I can see that somebody else's life experience has made them have their own beliefs, and we can have different beliefs, but don't ask me to deviate from my belief. I won't. I just won't. I will not deviate from what I believe in. And so you can try to convince me all day long as to why I should run my business differently, why I should charge more for what I do, why I should not travel as much as I do for work. I'm not going to listen because I believe in it. I believe in my business model. I believe in my business plan. I believe in what I do. So don't try, because I'm not changing. Capricorn, redhead belief. Hard, right? But it's really good. So when I think about my bottom strengths, let's go to connectedness. I feel everyone is one, everyone is connected, everyone is the same, there's no coincidence. Everything makes sense on this connectedness thing. My bottom strength, the thing that I have the least in me, is individualization, which a person with a high individualization will pull out specific things from each person in their world that they shine in. They will say, oh, this person is great at this. This person is great at this. This person is great at this. And they will seek out those individual pieces to people. I don't do that. We're all the same. We are all the same. Belief shows up again. So individualization is very low for me. Some of this might surprise you, the bottom stuff. Wooing people. I don't have 1 ounce of woo, which is winning others over. I don't care. I don't care because I believe in myself. So I don't care. I don't need to woo people because I believe in what I believe. And if you don't, you don't. I'm moving on. I don't care. Sounds terrible, doesn't it? Woo is bottom, second bottom. Relator. It's the next bottom. I don't relate well to other people. Here comes belief again. You either believe in me, you believe in my work, or you don't. I'm not going to relate to you if you want to make money all the time and you don't care about serving others. I'm not going to relate to you on that. I'm not great at social stuff. I don't like relating to people. I don't. Sounds so crazy that this is what I do for work. I talk to people all day long, but I don't relate. I don't relate events to people. I can't remember a movie star to save my life because I don't care. I don't relate that way. I don't even remember last week. It drives people in my life crazy. Well, don't you remember we went? I don't remember. I don't remember anything because I don't relate things. I don't relate people. I don't relate events. I don't relate years. When people say like, yeah, back in 1982, I'm like, I don't even know what year it is today. Like you're asking me to remember 1982? I don't remember that. Christmas of 83. I couldn't tell you because I don't relate events or people. Analytical is in my bottom, which I thought I was pretty good at analyzing a situation or analyzing people. No, not. And so then it goes up. I'm not futuristic. Positivity is very low. I think I'm positive to a degree, but I'm also a very real person. I look at all of the potential scenarios. I don't live in such a state of positivity that I'm not willing to see a potential. No, that might not work out. And so I need to plan for that. Here comes responsibility, focus, and discipline. So I'm kind of in the middle of that. I'm positive in my thinking, but in my executing of daily things, I also have a very realistic outlook to life. All right, here's going to be the shocking one. I posted on my Instagram a little poll. I think every person that has answered that poll today thinks I have empathy as my top strength. I do not have empathy as my top strength. It is very low on my list. I think it's number 20 out of 34. I don't have empathy. I don't practice empathy. I am not an empath. People say all the time, oh, you must be an empath. If I were a true empath, I could not do the work that I do. I could not sit in a room full of people that have had decades of trauma and have been beaten and left for dead over and over and over and over. And the list goes on. I could not do it if I was an empath. I don't feel what other people feel. I don't let it stick to me. I don't carry it. I don't dwell on it. I do my work. I close the door. I leave. That's it. Empaths feel it, consume it, eat it up, wear it. I'm not an empath. And that is a surprise to many people. I don't, I can watch sad things on the television if I choose to do that. And and almost to the point where I don't understand why people feel what they feel. I've often wondered, like, is something wrong with me? Because I don't get why everybody's so sad. I don't get why everybody's so sad. Nothing's wrong with me. I just work a different way. My brain works a different way. My oomph works a different way. And so there's different domains that these strengths fall under. Some of them are relational. Don't have a lot of those. Connectedness is my only one. In fact, in my top 10, I believe that's relational, relationship based. Most of my top 10 are in that executing domain. 4 out of my 5 are executing. So I believe in something, I get it done, I'm responsible and focused, I'm disciplined, and I move on to the next thing. I think knowing your strengths will give you insight as to where the gaps are in your relationships, especially personal relationships. If you're, my age, or maybe you don't have a job where you have to work with other people, or you're self-employed or something like that, I don't think you're going to find like this in the sense of business. Like if you look at the Gallup book and you look at like the Gallup app, it's kind of geared towards a team of business people or coworkers and things like that. But if you can just turn the dial a little bit and see like, okay, my family is pretty much my working team and my partner is my coworker. And so how am I relating to him, and what's his top strengths or her top strengths that I'm missing, that I don't understand? And I say this because one of my bottom strengths is context. I do not ever relate the past to the present. Again, going back to 1983 Christmas, I have no idea what anybody's talking about. I don't think of a present day challenge as something I experienced back there and tie it together. Well, oh, this happened to me back then, so it's going to happen now, and here's how I handle it. I don't do that. A lot of people do. So you will find in your relationships, if the old saying is correct, opposites attract, be ready, because your top 5 may likely be your partner's bottom 5. And their top 5 will be your bottom 5. I've seen it happen more than once. So to have harmony in your relationships, harmonizer, by the way, is a strength. Me, I don't need people to get along because I have belief. Either get it or you don't, you move on. So I've seen people have better relationships when they can say, oh, okay, the reason why this person always brings up the past is not because she wants to always live in the past, or she wishes she still was married to the past, or she wishes she had the big house in the past. She's relating a feeling that she's having presently with a feeling that she had in the past. That's context. She's trying to make sense of the present by bringing context from the past into today. Once I understood that, then I no longer took it personal. Like, this person lives in the past all the time. They must not be happy in the present. It's not that at all. They're making sense of the present by relating the past. When I get frustrated that maybe somebody is constantly thinking and ruminating, trying to put all the pieces together, making a spreadsheet of all the scenarios that might happen, that's analytical. It's not a strength for me. I will face whatever I face when I have to face it. And if I don't have to face it, okay, I don't have to face it. Don't worry about it because I'm focused on what I do have in front of me. So once I understood the bottom strengths that I don't have any understanding in myself of, and I could see some of those strengths in the people in my life, then I started to do the work. I got out the book. I got out the app. I started to study individualization. I don't understand picking out strengths in other people or individual things in other people, remembering people based on individual things. I don't have that in me. I don't have context. I don't have analytical. I definitely don't have winning people over because I don't care. I just don't care. I'm not here to be friends with strangers. I'm not here to, be the life of the party. I'm not here to win people over. I just don't care. In fact, I probably come across pretty rude when I'm out walking. I'll say good morning, but that's it. I'm walking because I'm focused and disciplined and responsible. And I believe in walking. Can you see it? It's kind of comical. It just gives me a giggle. It just gives me a giggle because I can see myself so clearly. But I know that other people may see me as kind of cold and kind of off and kind of rude, unless you know me really well, because I'm not here to win you over. I'm not here to be a relator. I'm not here to harmonize. I'm not here to make friends with you on the trail. I'm here to walk. It's my responsibility. It's my focus. It's my discipline. I only have so many minutes in a day. Anyway, get the book. Get the book. I'm going to pop a blog post up about all of this in a little bit more detail, give you a little bit more information, my top 5. I just think it's fun. I think it's fun to learn about yourself. How boring would life be if we were the same darn people we were when we were 20? Our strengths are the same our whole life, but what we do with those strengths can change. In my 20s, was my way or the highway. I wasn't very nice. I, as a young mom, as a parent, belief, responsibility, focus, and discipline, boom, 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 boom. I held my kids' feet to the fire. Wish I could do a little bit of that over again now that I have a better understanding about myself. I would have been a little bit more flexible in some of that stuff. I still would have had responsibility as a high value, high strength, teaching responsibility, teaching accountability, all of that, but I would have let them be kids a little bit more. I was pretty rigid. So we learn about ourselves and we learn, back then I can see where it did not work. So in my present day relationships with my kids or with friends or partners or whoever, I want to take my best strengths, my top 5, maybe my top 10, and use them in a way that enhances my relationships. And then I want to understand their strengths. So I encourage families to take these tests together. I encourage close friends to take them and share information. In fact, just yesterday, a middle school friend, and hopefully April will watch this, I played ball with her, West Junior, middle school, and she sent me her top 5. And although I don't know her super well presently, we're in touch, social media lets you do that. But I can see her top 5 strengths in her. I can see them. I can see them because I knew her when she was 12, 13, 14. I could see them. And so we shared our strengths. What's your top 5? What's your top 5? And I could see them. And I just think that's so cool. And then I have another friend who lives in Kansas. I've never met her before, but we're Instagram friends. She shared her top 5. It's a conversation. It's so good to know other people on this level, not on the level that is very surface. What do you do for work? Where do you live? What kind of car you drive? What makes you happy? That's good to know, but this stuff is good to know. It will change your life. I just think it's one of the greatest things. And again, when I'm struggling with something, when I'm stuck on, maybe I'm stuck on something relational with somebody close to me, or I'm stuck on a business decision, I will go into that book and I will look at the strengths and I will see which one that I can't seem to get my head wrapped around, or I can't seem to understand the problem. And then that strength shows up, it pops up, and I'm like, okay, this is why somebody with that type of, relator, woo, things I'm not great at, this is why This is why. So in order for me to communicate better, I need to see that that is a top strength in this individual. Take a breath, let go of my strong belief. It's all fine. It's all fine. So there it is. I wanted to talk about this topic for so long because it's been a huge part of my life for the last 8 years or so. And I think about my strengths at least 3 days, 4 days a week. At least I think about my strengths. I think about, stepping away from that responsibility. Like, here's a fun thing. This is the fun thing. This is where you start to giggle through your life. When I was a kid growing up, we got to have ice cream after dinner. We could only open one box of cereal at a time. You didn't open like Fruit Loops and Apple Jacks. You ate the Fruit Loops, then you opened the Apple Jacks. It's just the way it was. Same with chips. Like, we had bags of Doritos or whatever. Well, you had to finish the Ruffles before you could open the Doritos. And it's just the way that it was. It was the rule. It wasn't like my mom was going to beat us if we did it. It's just you didn't do that. You didn't open up a bag of chips on the way home from the grocery store and eat them. You waited till you got home. Anyway, just silly little things like that. But I see people throughout the day in my travels, happily, smiles on their face, enjoying eating ice cream in the middle of the day. And I'm like, what are you doing? You cannot do that and have fun with it. There's responsibility. There's belief. I never had ice cream during the day as a kid, ever. And so when I see somebody doing it, I'm like, you can do that? That's not against the law. Like, you can do that. So every summer, I have this silly goal that I'm going to go get ice cream during the day, happily lick it, and find joy in it. I haven't done it yet this summer, but it's just now 2 days into summer. I got time. But that's where, like, some of that rigidity, focus, discipline, responsibility, and belief takes over my world. Like, go eat the ice cream, lick it, drive down, Wadsworth in Denver, happy as a clam, licking your ice cream cone. It's fine. The world's not going to end. So I might even go today. It's hot. So I'm going to eat ice cream. So find joy in it. I'm all about joy these days. Get your strengths, chew on them, think about them, share them with me. I want to know them. Think about the blind spots in your life where you missed something. Think about the joy that they've brought you, the success they've brought you. If I didn't have responsibility, focus, discipline, and belief in my top 5 and connectedness, I would not have the job that I do, I wouldn't do the work that I do. I wouldn't have the ability to go in and rub people's feet that are dying. I mean, there's just so much about my work, just my work, that shows up in my top 5. I think raising my children, very much top 5, especially as a single parent, very much top 5. The beliefs I had about, you will get a savings account, you will get a job, you will save for your own car, you will buy your own gas, responsibility, focus, discipline, belief. My kids turned out great though. All right. Have fun with it. Share them with the people closest to you. Share them with me. I would love to know your strengths. I would love to support you in your strengths. I would love to know, maybe if you want to choose to upgrade and get your bottom strengths, find out where it's not that you have the weakest spots there, like you're not good at it, but it's just not something that's strong in you. It's okay. You don't need to improve it. You just need to understand why somebody else who might have that as a top strength, you're here, kind of a little friction in there. So you understand yourself better, and then there's no friction. That's fun and it's good. So share your stuff with me. We'll have conversations. I might do a part 2 where I do some Q&As if you have questions about your strengths. And you can be trained in this whole like Strengths Academy thing. Like, it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. So I encourage you to put your foot in the water and just dip your toes and find your strengths. And then let's talk about it more. So that's what I got for you. I have a fun one coming next week. Keep watching, keep sharing. Keep liking, keep subscribing, keep sharing with your friends, keep reaching out to me. I love the emails that I get throughout the week. I love the questions that are coming in. I love, love, love it. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you next Monday. Take care and get your strengths. See you.